Well, nearly every day we hear how the Russian military is killing innocent people in Ukraine. Ukraine's President Zelensky today saying that 97 children have been killed, and those are just numbers that have been reported so far. Babies, children, and women all killed in this war. We hear about the strength of the Ukrainian military and those who are staying in the cities to fight for their country. And they are very strong, just like the president who refuses to leave his people. Now, what we're not hearing enough about is the brave women who have been forced to make the extreme rough trip to safety with their children alone. More than 3 million people have fled Ukraine, the vast majority women and children, and that number is expected to increase to more than 4 million. That's according to the United Nations Refugee Agency. And we've seen the images of women pushing baby carriages or holding the hands of their young children, walking or waiting in the freezing cold and snow. We've seen babies wrapped in blankets to stay warm, young children dragging their feet from exhaustion, older siblings carrying their brothers and sisters. These women and children have left their homes, their jobs, their schools, their friends. They've gathered everything they could that would fit in a suitcase or a backpack and headed out. But most importantly, they've had to make the trek to safety without their husbands. Fathers forced to say goodbye to their children, holding them while crying, not ever knowing if they'll see them again. In Ukraine, men 18 to 60 years old must stay and help with the fight. Imagine yourself in this situation. Many of us were in constant contact with our loved ones, whether it's text or phone calls. But these families, they don't have that. Communication is extremely difficult. Ukrainians are told to stay off their phone for fear the Russian military will find them. Just imagine saying goodbye to your husband, your wife, your child, and it could be the last time you see them. Just over 20 days ago, these families were living a normal life, going to work, school, enjoying a meal together, tucking their children in bed. Now, all of that has changed. Millions of innocent women and children have left life as they know it behind in search of safety. Children have been forced to see images they can never unsee. They've heard sounds that would terrorize any adult. They've endured what many of us cannot even imagine. They've heard grown men and women cry. All they have with them is a suitcase of clothes, maybe a few toys and stuffed animals. They're scared. They're relying on their mothers to stay strong. And these women are doing just that. These families do not know where they'll sleep, what they'll eat, or what their future holds. They're arriving by train, car, or foot into bordering countries like Poland, where they have little to no sleep and they're simply exhausted with nowhere to go. Maybe a family will take them in, maybe they'll go to a shelter. When they get to the border, they're met by volunteers who also have a difficult job. These refugees are mentally and physically drained. I spoke to Mayor Paul Knitra of Point Pleasant Beach, New Jersey. He recently came back from volunteering and told me he saw things he'll never forget. Some of these refugees had hoped they'd go back to their home, while others were coming to the realization that they'll never see their home again. This is what millions of refugees are dealing with right now. And let's not forget the people who have not been able to leave. Many older Ukrainians can't travel due to health issues, and they have to stay there. They're hiding in bomb shelters to stay alive. Just last week, correspondent Chuck Holton rescued an older woman from her home suffering from dementia. He brought her to a safe place where she could be taken care of. But many of these older people, they're alone. They're scared without any family. When I ask people from Ukraine what they need, they tell me they need supplies, they need weapons, they need planes, and they want no-fly zone. They don't want our military there. They say they can fight on their own. I know there's a lot of controversy over no-fly zone and giving Ukraine planes. Perhaps things could change, though, if we showed strength and Putin maybe was scared of us. We are told that President Biden is going to a NATO summit next Thursday in Brussels. Mr. President, people are dying. Innocent children are dying. Cities have no food, no water, no heat, no medication. Why go next Thursday? Why didn't you go to Poland last week? Why did you send Kamala Harris? Why not you? You haven't called President Putin. You waited to impose sanctions. You waited to stop buying oil from Russia only until you received pressure from Congress, including Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Russia is threatening the United States. China is threatening the United States. Iran launched missiles near an American embassy. Saudi Arabia, they wouldn't even take your phone call. French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz took a call with President Putin last week. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki was asked if our president would call Putin. She said, not at this time. Why not? Our adversaries are watching. Americans are worried. We hear the word nuclear. We hear the word cyber attack. There are threats coming at us in multiple directions, and innocent Ukrainians are dying. 97 children are dead. Maybe, just maybe, it's time to show our strength and be proactive, not reactive. Mr. President, it's time to lead.